I'm Itai Perez. I'm a senior implementation specialist at Smartsheet, and this is Smartsheet Unlocked with Prodactive.
My name is Rich Coles, founder and managing director of Prodactive. Welcome to Smartsheet Unlocked, the show designed to help people get the most out of Smartsheet, whether just getting started or already power users, where we bring you insights and real-life examples from Smartsheet everyday users, overachievers, the team developing, and the people within Smartsheet. Ultimately, our goal is to inspire people to achieve better outcomes leveraging the fantastic platform that is Smartsheet to help transform execution and unlock potential, be it organizationally or personally. We've been sharing tips and tricks on YouTube since 2021 and working with fantastic people from around the world. So we thought it about time we brought some of these people to share their stories. I'm delighted to be joined today by Itai Perez from Smartsheet. Now, I've known Itai since 2022 when I was starting to explore expanding Prodactive, and we're looking for talented people. Itai had a fantastic background where he developed expertise in Power BI and is curious to find out more about Smartsheet. So as we started talking, I could see he had great potential, but at the same time, one of my contacts asked if I knew anyone who was talented in Smartsheet and Power BI. And the answer was clear, Itai. So knowing that he had the chance to accelerate his career with a global hospitality company, I introduced him, and now the rest is history. And I'm delighted to introduce Itai to tell his story from Smartsheet newbie to Smartsheet senior implementation specialist. Itai, welcome.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you for having me.
So Itai, for people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about your background.
I'm Israeli, but moved to Scotland in 2021 with my wife and two boys. My wife is Scottish, so that's what brought me here.
So before moving to Scotland, what was your background?
I worked as a logistics specialist at SIM, which is a global container shipping company. While working there, I did my degree in process engineering and management. So when we moved to Scotland, it was just when COVID hit. It was the end of 2021, and there weren't many jobs, if any. So I was struggling. I kept working for a team for about 3 months and then decided to just go for the first opportunity I had, which was going to be a cleaner at the pub, just to pass the time, get to know some people, start getting into the life in Scotland.
Wow. So this is someone coming from Israel with a degree in process engineering and business management, and you're working in a pub. And you were also doing a bit of training on Power BI or something at the time as well, if I recall from the little video you sent us.
While studying, I had to make some more money. And so I used to teach Excel and started learning some Power BI as well when we moved over to Scotland, because I thought that's a good skill to have for a possible job.
So you were there working at the pub, working as a cleaner, and you're also doing a bit of work on the side as well. Tell us a little about that.
So while working at the pub, I started as a cleaner, moved to being a cook. By the way, one of the best jobs I've ever had, loved every minute of it. And then at the back of the pub, there was what they call the food hub. So where people in need can come and just take food. They started it during COVID because half of the pub, they didn't really need it because no one could use it. And they were managing everything day to day on paper. There wasn't any records of inventory or volunteers, etc. So I said, I'll give you a hand. I can create something for you just so you have some records. Created an extremely busy and difficult Excel. But for them, it was simple. It was just a form. I had lots of macros at the back and all that just for a form to collect some information. And so that's how it all started. And the first time I saw the name Smartsheet, when I still didn't know what it was, but that's when I saw the name and introduced it to the first time.
So you were working on that, and obviously you started looking around for jobs. So what triggered you to get in touch with us?
So I did send hundreds of CVs, didn't really get any replies. And then I decided, okay, I'll try my luck with some remote jobs. And when I saw the ad with Prodactive, something felt more real, something felt more genuine, almost like having a conversation reading the ad. I think maybe because it was a small company at the time. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go for it as well. The name Smartsheet, and there was quite a lot of reference to Excel. I thought, okay, this is good. So I decided to send you my CV, but also go onto the Prodactive website and actually send you a private message.
So as part of our recruitment process, actually, because we do the YouTube videos, we said, right, well, people will be working remotely and filming themselves. Let's ask them to do a little video. And it's a good way to see if people were up for it. And you clearly were. And I remember you sent us this fantastic video introducing yourself. And Fiona She was very excited because she immediately spotted there's something special about you. And while we had initial conversations about you joining Prodactive, I love the fact that you went on to do much greater things since then. We've kept in contact and we love hearing how you're progressing. As I said at the beginning, at the time when we were first introduced, I was working closely with another good friend of mine, Amit Baristaran, who I used to work with at Costa Coffee. And he'd gone on to be head of transformation at Gong Cha. Now, Amit has got a very special place for both of us because one, he was my first client for Smartsheet, and that's another story. But also, he was then looking and growing Smartsheet within Gong Cha and needed support from someone. And he said, Rich, do you know someone? I was there going, Tony's got this talent and he could be really great for us. But actually, I knew you in rural Scotland, had a chance to work with this global company. So I was like, you know what, Amit, much rather Itai can go off and do fantastic things for you. And I love it because you guys got in touch and then the rest is history. So tell us, what is Gong Cha and what were you doing there?
Great question. First of all, absolutely. Amit is the one who gave me, so you introduced us. He's the one who gave me the opportunity to even work with Smartsheet and have these opportunities. I would always thank him. So Gong Cha is a bubble tea franchisor. They have over 2,000 stores globally in 5 continents, and they're growing rapidly as well. And for them, I was a project manager under Amit. So he is the transformation director. You can imagine the number and types of projects we would do, starting from SAP, Power BI, and anything in between, including Smartsheet, of course.
And for me, I find this incredible that you went from having come from Israel with this fantastic background to suddenly working in a pub as a cook, as a cleaner, to then suddenly you were able to work in rural Scotland, yet start working in a global business, working with people in the Americas, in Asia, in London, around the world. Absolutely fantastic. Now, when at Gong Cha you started, you were actually still reasonably new to using Smartsheet. So how did you become such a master of Smartsheet in such a short time?
First of all, when I started working for Gong Cha, I had to go down to the London office and I had no idea what to expect. First time pretty much going to London and to an office in London, I imagined everyone in suits. So I wore my best outfit, which is my wedding clothes. And I walk into the office and everyone are pretty much in flip-flops and a t-shirt. So that was an interesting first impression. But then back to Smartsheet. So I think I jumped into the deep end of the pool. And I was lucky for 2 reasons. First of all, I met you. You were the one paying for my first Smartsheet University certification. I don't know if you remember.
I had actually forgotten this, but I couldn't be more delighted to help get you on the bit. And I said in the prior episode, I had Christian Armstrong, who gave me my first Smartsheet license. And I love this, paying it forwards to helping other people get to where you want to go. Unlock potential. This is what this is about. Love it.
Yeah, so I will always thank you for that. And I was lucky in a sense because I had lots of Excel experience as well, which really helped because it gives you the core idea or the understanding, at least of the core product. Obviously, Smartsheet can do a lot more, but it gave me the access to Smartsheet. And I wasn't afraid of it in a way. So that really helped.
I've seen you being very active on the Smartsheet community. We spoke about the Smartsheet community with Will Jeffords in that episode as well. So one of the fabulous things about Smartsheet is there's so many resources out there for people getting started. Give us an idea of the kind of things you were doing to find out and to get you, to accelerate you on your journey.
The first one would be YouTube. So there are lots of great YouTube channels. I believe that when I started doing Smartsheet, the Prodactive channel wasn't as big back then. It is incredible just now when I use it quite often, but back then I used the community quite a lot. So the Smartsheet community I found extremely helpful. If you imagine, it's just a list of endless questions that needs answered, which is exactly what I needed. So I would literally go in there, see what people are posting, what questions they needed answered, and I would find a way to answer them.
And that's absolutely brilliant. So not only were you learning, but also you were giving back to people as well, answering questions, going in, and again, connecting with people within the community. So let's go back to Gong Cha. Can you give a couple of examples of the kind of things that you were doing with Gong Cha and how did that make a difference?
I like to say we did everything using Smartsheet except project management, which is what Smartsheet is usually being sold as. We literally did anything else but project management. And starting from, and you know it very well because you were the architect behind it, store management and development tracker, like store development tracker, from an idea of a store into opening a store and all of the steps in between. And then we did customer surveys, which always surprises people, but we use the Smartsheet form to capture live surveys from customers within the stores, 2,000 stores with QR codes, etc., dashboards, and then feeding into Power BI to give live feedback from the customers to the store owners, which I found incredible and saved the company. We looked at it at the time, and for 2,000 stores, it would be something around $750,000 a year, and with on the Smartsheet subscription.
And the crazy thing was at the time that you guys were able just to go in, learn Smartsheet. Amit was just learning Smartsheet at the time and start building these solutions and then saving the organization so much money. But also, I think it's the speed that you're able to move at, because you're able to create the solutions that you wanted. And this is the challenge, I think, for many people. They'll buy an expensive software or pay lots of money whilst not quite knowing the solution. Whereas you guys were able to design as you go along and then improve it and then bring in other systems as where needed later on.
Absolutely, especially because Smartsheet gives you so much freedom in a way, because you can use the core app, but then we also used every advanced app Smartsheet has to offer. We didn't just have it, we actually used each and every one of them, from pivot table onto a data shuttle to extract the data and use it in Power BI, through data mesh, and then work apps to give access to our franchisors to the data.
And the key piece there is when the team at Gong Cha started, they had the standard Smartsheet subscription, but then they went on to an advanced package where they had all the range of premium applications. And that just gave so much power to be able to do so many different things. And that's where the skills came in. But ultimately, Itai, this is all about you guys were creating these solutions for people to be able to just do their work better. The discussion was the franchisors, they didn't need to know how to use Smartsheet as such. They just needed to be able to run their businesses better. And you were providing solutions that enabled that, the tracking of stores, the opening of new stores and understanding what was going on. Absolutely fantastic. And a big running joke, I remember Amit telling me at the time, every time there was in a meeting that someone's describing a challenge that needs to be solved, there was a bet saying, I wonder how long it's going to be before Amit says, we can solve it with Smartsheet. So going back to your time at Gong Cha then, can you give any guidance for someone who's just starting out or growing using Smartsheet within their business? What are some of the guidance, learnings, challenges that you faced at the time?
So I think we made quite a lot of mistakes, and exactly with that one. We understood Smartsheet really well, so we just expected people to have some sort of an understanding. But most people, when you say Smartsheet to them, they have no idea what you're talking about. Or maybe they know it's some sort of a smart Excel, which is what you hear from people. And it scares people, especially when you don't know a new software. It scares you. Why do I need it? I'm already using this. I'm so happy. Leave me alone. So I think we made quite a few mistakes on that one. But then the training, I think, is really important. So at some point, we started running, not webinars, but to give ideas to people on how to use Smartsheet. How can you, in your department, in the design department, in the marketing department, in the operations, how can you make your life easier using this tool? And we used the template library quite often for that, to demo things. It's much easier when you already have a set of, even though it's just a template, it really helps.
Great advice. So let's start rolling the clock forwards. Last year, you attended Smartsheet Engage in London with Amit, and then you got exposure to Smartsheet on the big stage. Now, that was May last year. We've actually got the Smartsheet London Summit coming up very shortly, and Prodactive are actually co-sponsoring this year. Can you tell people about your experience attending Engage?
Yes, one of my favorite moments to do with Smartsheet, and if you're now sponsoring it, they're very lucky. I tried to get the most out of Engage. So I came very early, I think it was 5:30 in the morning, to start getting to know some people. And then we had some meetings regarding different apps. So I went to the Control Center one, because that was one that I was struggling with. So a couple of hours on Control Center with an incredible woman. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name just now, but she had answers to literally every questions on this planet regarding Control Center. And then it's built in such a great way. Engage. I found it anyway, because I was very stretched. It's the first time I've ever been to such a large event to do with any software. But they make it so easy for you to meet other people. Everything is very communal. You sit and have breakfast, so at big tables, and you have to speak to people. And the fact that it's engaged and it's all to do with Smartsheet, you need to remember that everyone are there to talk about Smartsheet. So everyone has something in common. And that something is Smartsheet. And it really helps with the first line of conversation. Even if you're not unsure on what to say, this is what I'm doing in Smartsheet. What do you do?
I think, and that's absolutely brilliant. So for people who don't know, Smartsheet runs this event called Engage every year. Now, the major event is in Seattle, and literally thousands of people come to hear firsthand what's happening at Smartsheet, the innovations that have been released, what's coming, and also just get a chance to speak to all the specialists in Smartsheet, but also how everyone comes together. Everyone's passionate about Smartsheet. And I get so much out of it myself because I'm just surrounded by other people who just want to do fantastic things with Smartsheet. So this year, Smartsheet's actually extending it by running a series of summits around the world. We've got one coming up in London that we're co-sponsoring. There's going to be ones in Munich, Paris, Sydney, Melbourne, Singapore, Tokyo, and then across the US, in Chicago, Boston, New York, amongst other places. So Itai, I think you've already given some advice for people attending those events. That's absolutely brilliant, because it is just go and, I guess, get the most out of it. It's what you said before. You lean into the community. The more you give, I guess, almost is the more you get.
Absolutely. When I came to Engage, I came to be one of these annoying customers who comes to the Smartsheet team with all these questions that no one can answer, that just reach the limit of what the Smartsheet core app can do. And only then I knew that when I started asking those questions, and no one could really answer them. But really, the best thing to do is to try and gain connections. It's to try and meet people, to speak to people, and mainly if they're not coming from your industry. That's a big thing as well. Because after attending Engage and speaking to people, I understood that we're looking at it wrong, where we're using it for operations, we're using it for marketing and design. But HR, and why would I use it for HR? Never came to mind.
And that's the fantastic thing. You hear so many different examples of different people using it. And this is the great thing about the Smartsheet platform. It's so flexible, can be used in so many areas. And that's why I love just hearing from other people about what are they doing. And we at Prodactive, we're very lucky because we do get to talk to people in all sorts of industries around the world of different things. And I guess which kind of comes on to your role now as a senior implementation specialist at Smartsheet, because you help people around the world do fantastic things. So how did you move from Gong Cha into this role at Smartsheet? What a fantastic transition.
Thank you. So actually everything started at Engage last year. After speaking to you initially, I thought, what a great job. Be a consultant. I don't have to work for a company. I work for different clients, different industries, not every day, but every project is different. So exciting and interesting. Maybe I'd like to be a consultant. So when I was at Engage, every person I spoke to, I just put these words out there. I just said, one day I'd like to be a Smartsheet consultant. And I said it to the right guy. It was John Batty. He was the director of professional services at the time. And we had a very nice conversation, exchanged numbers. And he said, we have some jobs coming up. Just apply, see what happens.
And it takes off from there. By the kind of questions you were asking at that time, you were starting to push the boundaries of it. So people could clearly see that you had gone from being novice to pretty expert in Smartsheet at the time. So without sharing any confidential information, can you give any examples of the kind of challenges or solutions you're helping businesses with now?
It might surprise you, it might not, but I find that the biggest change I make comes from the smaller projects. So 10 hours consultations or very simple project management. And that's usually because it comes from smaller teams and smaller companies that are not used to using technology. The first one that comes to mind, so I was working with a legal department, a government legal department from an African country, and they were working in the most manual way possible. Literally, dossier of documents that needs to run through department for approvals. needs to create documents and proof them, etc. But everything is done printed and then sent over to clients. And we didn't have to create anything very exciting and fireworks, but it was just a sheet with tasks, dashboards, and reports for reporting for the different departments. We did use dynamic view on that one because at the end of the day, it's a legal department. There needs to be some data confidentiality between the departments, but just some automations, approvals, and the proofing tool on Smartsheet, which I find incredible. And from there, they just ran with it. And that's it. There's no more printing documents.
You experience the same bit that we do. When you see someone's face light up when they realize the hours you're going to save them, how much time has that saved them?
It was somewhere around 75% increase in productivity.
That is incredible. And as you say, with a small intervention, a small bit of, is there a better way? That's a fantastic example. Any other interesting examples you'd care to share?
It's similar but different. It was a small design team that worked with different agencies, the agency to create different assets for them. So everything is done through emails and SharePoint and send me version 1, version 2, version 15, etc. So again, a small project, but made such a big difference. We created a sheet for them with different automations for approvals, different automations for uploading documents, using the proofing tool for versioning. And they also had brand folders. So then direct connection to brand folder, and they can upload those assets once they're finalized directly into Smartsheet, from Smartsheet to brand folder. So
brand folder is fantastic digital asset management platform from Smartsheet as well. So I'll just put a little link into what brand folder is. Sometimes it's the small, simple things, making those connections. But as you said, stuff that got lost in email. Oh, I didn't know I missed that email. Everything's visible in a sheet. The small things which make the difference. It can save so much time. Itai, that's fantastic. And as you said, moving to a consultant is that be able to work with one organization, another, and another. As you build your experience across, work with organizations around the world, and you're making an impact. As you said at the beginning, you're working in the pub, you've got the great pleasure there, but also the food bank. Again, because you want to give back to people. And that's what I sensed from you at the beginning. It's about helping others grow in the process. So I'm going to move to the questions I ask everyone. What are your top tips for anyone getting started with Smartsheet, whether it's personally or they're just helping establish Smartsheet within an organization?
So on a personal level, I would say, like the community, YouTube, or in this case, Prodactive YouTube channel currently is the highlight. And then the Smartsheet University as well, if you can have access to, is great. The e-learnings of the core, just the start, the beginning, the core app are great. So easy to follow and easy to learn from. And then on an organizational level, it is a bit more tricky. And I would say training, pretty much. Get your employees trained. It's worth it. If you do the webinars yourself, or if you get help from a partner like Prodactive, it's worth it. It's going to save you so much time and money in the long run if people are not afraid of the change.
Itai, thank you. And I think the other bit, which I picked up from you previously also, is start small, little step by step by step. Don't try to aim for a massive solution straight away. It's about what are the changes, and then you see the impact as you've described. Gosh, 75% increase in productivity by making a small change. Once you've learned that and people realize it's not scary, you go on to from there.
I would also say get people involved if you can. So if you're planning to use Smartsheet and you already have a project running, get people to join those calls, get people to join those meetings, even if they're just listening, or they can give some feedback at the end of what they would like to see. If they have this personal touch, they will feel a lot more engaged with the final product.
Brilliant. And in fact, when we work with clients, we like to involve them in the building of it as well, so that it's not, oh, here's a solution now, I don't know how to do anything, I don't touch it. Actually, they've been involved in building it so that they can go and maintain it themselves as well. This is the piece. Our goal is to pass it over to people so they can run and do it, and then we can help them go to the next level after that. So my next question then, what is your favorite feature or solution that you use within Smartsheet? You've already spoken about proofing, but I guess there's so many different things that you like using.
Let's start from small to big. I'll just give you two. So, okay, the small one that almost every customer I had find incredible is the conversations piece on the row level. The fact that I can add a conversation on a task level and tag people and have a proper conversation saves so many emails and so much pain that literally every company in the world faces. So just this small feature makes such a big difference.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and what's fantastic is it means then that's in the sheet. And then that history is there for as long as the sheet remains. And so you can go back and see that piece. So rather than these things being lost in emails, it's in the context of where that work's happening. I couldn't agree more. That's fantastic. Such a small, powerful feature.
It's almost like having a WhatsApp group that's connected to your task, because you can also upload attachments, you can upload photos directly into the conversation, which makes a big impact.
And those can also go to Teams or Slack as well.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So that's a small one. Gosh, what's the big one then?
The bigger one I always used to love was workups. When I worked for Gong Cha, that made a big impact on us, a big difference, because I could share reports without sharing down an underlining sheet. I could share different assets or different links, even if they're not in Smartsheet, in one place. Whereas before they had to have all these links and maybe bookmark them, and it would make life much harder for them. So the fact that everything was in one place is amazing. And now they have collections, which is even better because it's an in-app. You don't have to go into workups to see that. And you can have all these links and forms within the collection, which I find so helpful.
Brilliant. It's about curating the information that someone needs to see to work on. So it's making it the bit we're both passionate about is make it easy for the users to do the work that they need to do. Show them what they've got to do and then put it in a way that they can easily access it. And so collections and workups is a fantastic way of doing it. So you're not lost and seeing a big file structure, but you go straight to where you need to. And it comes back to, therefore, a bit of the skills in designing the right solution. Now, my final question then is, if you had a magic wand, now you are within Smartsheet, so you're getting to see some of the fantastic things coming, but if you had a magic wand to introduce a new feature to Smartsheet, what would that be?
I think the one thing, a small change that will make a big difference would be dynamic dropdowns. And to explain that, I think the easiest way, or the one I find quite often with customers, is if we look at regions. So then we have EMEA, APAC, Americas, etc. So when I choose that on a form, when I choose EMEA, I only want to see countries, or to be able to choose countries that are from EMEA and not to have a list of all countries. So dynamic dropdowns are a simple thing, but something that would make a big impact.
Love it. And what I love about Smartsheet is it's constantly innovating and there's constantly new things coming out. So who knows in terms of when we might see that coming out as well. Well, Itai, thank you. You've been very generous with your time. Is there anything coming up that you'd like to share about, or anyone in particular that you'd like to make a mention to?
So I'd like to mention a couple of people. I'd like to mention Fiona and yourself, of course, but Fiona was always a part of my contact with Prodactive and always made me feel really comfortable and confident when speaking to her. So thank you, Fiona, and thank you, Rich, for the opportunity and for connecting me with Smartsheet and giving me my first license, of course.
Genuinely a real pleasure. And Fiona, she speaks very fondly of you. And I love the fact that you shared recent photos of your holiday with her as well. And that's the bit, it's the human connection. This is what makes the joy. Actually, for me, that I make friends around the world as a result of Smartsheet. Like you, it's changed my life in many ways. And this is the real pleasure of just connecting with fantastic people. That's why I'm doing this podcast, to connect with fantastic people, hear their stories and share their stories as well. So thank you. And sorry, I interrupted you.
I just wanted to thank Amit, of course, as my first employer, or the person who gave me the opportunity, even though when I spoke to him on the phone the first time, I was Googling bubble tea because I had no idea what I was applying for. But he gave me the opportunity anyway, and I would always thank him for that.
Well, brilliant. So Itai, you've been hugely generous with your time, as I said, and I always love connecting with you. It's been fantastic to see how your career has progressed from those initial conversations to what you're doing now as senior implementation specialist at Smartsheet. And as I recognized at the beginning, you've clearly got a lot of talent, and I'm really excited and thrilled to watch your continued process. So Itai, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure as usual.
So there we have it, Itai Perez. I hope and I trust you got a lot out of that, in particular hearing how he has gone on from being a Smartsheet novice in December 2022 to a senior implementation specialist at Smartsheet just within 2 years. Now, again, as I've said before, I love here is the principle of passing it on, of identifying talent and helping unlock potential. Christian Armstrong, who I had in a prior episode, he was the one who shared me my first license, and then that's made an impact on my life. And I feel very humbled and privileged, actually, that with Itai, that he shared his story about me giving him a license. And again, and it's just fantastic to see what's gone on there. And I love how Itai is now impacting many others with the work that he's doing. So we hope at Prodactive that we're having a positive impact on many others with the content we share on Smartsheet, because our aim is about helping organizations transform execution and unlock potential. So if you do have any questions for Itai, please do get in touch via LinkedIn. I'm sure he'll be delighted to, and I'll put his details in the show notes. And if you've got any questions for us, please do let us know. There's a link to the podcast to be able to provide feedback or suggestions for future guests or any topics you'd like us to cover. So please do let us know. And thanks for listening, and bye for now.